It's life day, we'll find a way, take a holiday. It's life day, we'll find a way and take a holiday special. It's life day.
It is pointless to resist.
Take a holiday special.
This will be
It's
a day long
life day.
remembered.
We'll find a way to take a holiday.
I have you now.
It's life day. We'll find a way. Take a holiday special.
What have you
Apologize
done?
for interrupting. Back to Clone Wars.
No, not at all.
I just forgot to mention that.
That would be amazing. But yeah, I mean, and the only thing I've really heard as far as storyline is concerned is a lot of it's gonna surround around it's gonna have a lot to do with Mandalore, and a lot of there's a war on Mandalore that leads into Episode 3, and they're gonna really focus a lot on that, from what I understand. So that's plot wise, that's all I've really heard.
Mm.
So which I love that, because some of the Mandalore stories were some of my favorite in Clone Wars. Some of the characters they developed out of that, and then the whole concept of Death Watch,
Yeah.
kind of the old guard, who kind of want to get back to the warrior ways of the Mandalorians that they feel were lost through time. I love some of the new characters and all that. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to new Clone Wars. That's going to be exciting. And that's what kind of prompted me to do yet another rewatch of the series, which I'm just about done with now. I've only got about 4 or 5 episodes to finish the series again.
Let me ask you about Darth Maul, since he made an appearance at the end of the Solo movie, and I know he's in Clone Wars, and I know too that we saw his final death in Rebels. I haven't seen the whole Rebels animated series, but I did make a point to watch that wonderful episode where he fought Obi-Wan for a final time.
I still haven't even seen that. So.
Oh, I loved that episode.
Yeah. Spoiler. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Maul wins. He gets his revenge. Obi-Wan
Yes,
dies.
he kills Obi-Wan. Yeah.
They change everything.
But could they have him, if they're doing another season of Clone Wars? Can't he come back? Then won't he be a normal part of that? I don't know how.
Well, here's the thing. He was his character was in the last 2 seasons. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. He's season 4 and 5. They reintroduced his character right towards the end of season 4, and then he's also in a story arc in season 5. But that it did have it had a conclusion, but an open-ended conclusion to his story. So it finished what he was doing, but basically the last thing that happened still was an open door to, we're going to see more of you. Have the series continued on back, prior.
And there is a gap they haven't addressed there, I don't think, in any of the media yet. It might be in a book or something, or the Darth Maul comic, but his end of his arc on Clone Wars leaves him in a bad spot. And
Right.
the next thing we see, I believe, is his appearance in Solo. So it seems like maybe his appearance in Solo is back during the middle of those Clone Wars storylines. Don't you think? It's not like after the Clone Wars storyline.
It would have to be.
It would have to be after, though, wouldn't it?
It would have to be, yeah, because this is well after.
Yeah, because
this is
I'm
only
getting my timeline
after
straight.
Vader is existing. Yeah.
So he must at some point get out of the predicament he's in.
Yeah.
At the Clone Wars, and go back to his trying to dominate creating another crime syndicate.
So maybe
kind of dumb to start the same idea. You already failed that one, but whatever.
But I know people love Darth Maul. People were excited about his appearance in Solo. Maybe he'll have more to do in the new Clone Wars series.
Yeah, I'll have to say I watched. I actually did a rewatch on Solo on DVD just 2 nights ago, and I still got goosebumps. Oh yes, Darth Maul.
Phone call from the commode.
I really like Darth Maul, and I'm glad Ray Park did that scene, but I'm still on the opposite end of the spectrum on that. I still okay, really. I did have that initial shock in theater where I was I was trying to guess who it was, and it was pretty cool, the reveal for a second, but it it
Mm.
it broke the fourth
Wouldn't
wall
it
for
be
me a little bit.
wonderful though to have Ray Park play him again in the one of the live action series? That would be really cool.
Yeah, he's still got it because I saw a clip of somebody took at a recent appearance they did where they gave him a double-sided saber. He said, "You mind if I try it?" And he just went nuts all through the
Yeah,
whole room. Like
think about it.
it's
Just
crazy.
less than a year ago, we saw him, or like just
Yeah,
over a year ago, we saw him in front of our face doing some of those moves on stage
Yeah,
right in front of us. It was,
yeah,
yeah, the guy's still got it. He keeps himself obviously in great shape with his martial arts, and
and it's not like he has to be the stuntman too. I mean, he's at the point where Darth Maul would be a big enough character where he could do the close-ups and the some of the twirling, and if they needed somebody to jump over a bridge or something, they could get a stuntman to do it. He's
right,
still got the painted face and the hood, and doesn't have to be
exactly.
Ray
It's still
Park.
his
He's not
it's
Jackie
still
Chan.
interchangeable.
He doesn't have to be Jackie Chan to do his
He
own
doesn't have to
stunts.
do every stunt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't even do the voice for the character, so he doesn't have to do the stunts
no.
either.
And see,
But
that's why I guess I knew it right away because I got so used to Sam Witwer doing the voice of Darth Maul in Clone Wars, and they got him to reprise the role. And that's when I heard that voice. That's why I was like, "No, this can't be." I just went into shock. Like,
yeah.
this is Darth Maul. I'm like, I mean, look at this. I'm still getting
Kenobi.
yeah.
I just imagine Darth
That's
Maul coming home and like his truck's been towed, it'd been repossessed. He's like, Kenobi. He's like, he blames Kenobi for everything that goes wrong in his life. Goes to the drive-through and he has the wrong sandwich. Kenobi.
Okay, so that's Clone Wars. Do we have anything else to add?
Are there other animated series?
I want Clone Wars. I just want to say I'm looking forward to it. I love the Clone Wars. There's parts of it that are throwaway to me, kind of like Rebels, but the good parts are really good. Um, so you loved the Jar Jar episodes and stuff.
Actually, the
There
Jar
were
Jar
Jar
episodes are
Jar
pretty good.
episodes.
They
Yes,
actually,
there are
they
not
actually
just
were
Jar
Okay.
Jar
pretty
parts.
decent. I'm not gonna lie,
Corellian,
they
you
were
did
actually
not
decent.
warn me. There
I
were
can
Jar
take
Jar
I
episodes.
can take or leave parts of it, but the first season to me is not that great of Clone Wars. But then when it starts heating up and it gets really good. Anyway, we can debate that another day. But I am looking forward to it. But I hope they don't run it into the ground to where it 13 episodes is probably really a good number. And like you said, we're kind of at the point where you're going to have to introduce a bunch of new characters and tell their stories. Uh, and do we really want to do that, or do we want to leave Clone Wars
That's
as the
totally
story of these characters we already like? Hit
right.
the high note, tell the whole story, and get done. There's so many other things they can do with the Star Wars setting,
Mhm.
and we now know a lot of the mystery is gone from the Clone Wars itself. That was what propelled that story from when we were kids. Was wondering what it was. Now I wonder about things like the Mandalorian Jedi War that they refer to that happened years before, and the dark saber, and
Mhm.
maybe do a show about something like that,
Yeah.
or just other points in Star Wars history. Um, as sacrilegious as it may be, I wouldn't mind some kind of animated show after we've been watching these Galaxy things,
Mhm.
with some of the OT characters and stuff, and
Yeah.
showing what some of them did after Return of the Jedi, before this, the sequel nightmare and all that.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, but Clone Wars, I'm looking forward to it, and I think that's really cool that they brought it back, and they're trying to listen to the fans in some degree, and I
Yeah.
hope it has anywhere near the quality and everything.
Do we have an
Oh, I think
expected
it will be.
date?
I mean, what's that?
Is there an expected release date for it?
No,
When will?
just
Mm.
whenever this streaming service starts. Kind of the so there's no date on any of this stuff. I'm just
And
assuming it's
you
going to
brought
be
up earlier,
pretty close to whenever they launch.
you said
What's
earlier
that?
that you didn't know what we thought about Dave Filoni, and then you told your kind of
Oh
opinion.
yeah, yeah.
I do want to say he was like Lucas's protege, wasn't he, for a long time? Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, so I think he and Lucas worked really closely together. So if anybody knows Lucas's vision of things, it's probably him. But I have a mixed opinion about him because his name was on a lot of stuff that I don't get, like the
Okay.
space whales and Rebels.
Mhm.
It was really dumb, and that was a big part of the Rebels finale. Was like some just really silly stuff that they focus. There's a lot of things that I sometimes I wonder. And he also was a big, he's Lucasfilm and everything, but he was a big
Yeah.
defender of the Last Jedi on
Mhm.
Twitter and stuff, and kind of like
Yeah, but he
saying,
also has to, like you said, he kind of has to toe the company line too.
sure,
So
sure, sure. But
I mean, he's not
and
gonna come out and blast and go,
let's
"Yeah, that's right.
assume,
These fans are right. That sucked. That
yeah,
movie's awful. Oh,
let's
okay, now
assume
let me make one."
let's assume he is the man, and he is the closest thing we're gonna get to, Lucas head at Lucasfilm. Disney as a corporation, Lucasfilm as a corporation, are they going to go with an artist and a writer,
Right.
and that's his resume? Are they going to go with a business person?
That's the thing, because
And,
Kathleen
and
Kennedy's the business
yeah,
person. She's not a creative person.
and even
You
if
know.
he's put in charge, will he really have the power to make decisions based on creativity? I mean, looking at the new like Resistance, I don't see any artistry that went into the decision to make that. I see the same thing that he said about Clone Wars is, we're doing this to get the next generation of kids. We got to get them to make sure we get some content coming out every so many years. And he even said on Clone Wars, our audience has outgrown it, so we have to get younger again for the next thing. So they did Rebels and got younger, and now they're doing Resistance and get younger. So there's a little bit of calculation that goes on that I'm not
Absolutely, there is.
actually comfortable with. That I'm not. As long as they keep putting out good stuff,
Hmm.
then that's fine. I don't care what audience it's for. But when you get stuff like Resistance that I just cannot, so far I can't see any point to that at all. Then it becomes a cold-blooded, calculated, grab for the next generation. So it's not magical. I want the kids to have something like we had,
Hmm.
and not just something for the sake of having something and fulfilling the brand name. You're just doing a disservice to the brand when you do that to me, in my opinion.
That's the Galaxy of Adventures cartoons are impressive to me because I think they could be enjoyed by both a kid audience and an adult audience. The ones that we've seen, we
Yeah.
really enjoyed. So I like the idea of doing more things with original trilogy characters and animations. Maybe they'll end up doing that as part of the streaming service eventually.
Hmm.
We'll have to see.
But yeah, that's all I want to say about Dave Filoni. I would love to believe, and I'll just have to wait and see what else he does and everything.
Yeah. Well, what else did we have coming up?
We can talk a little bit about. I don't know a whole lot more about it, but Galaxy's Edge opening at both Disney parks coming up this summer. Have either of you heard John Williams' score for
No.
Yes.
Galaxy's Edge? It's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good. You should
Good.
check
Oh,
it
I
out.
didn't even know it was
Mhm.
released. I
Yeah,
heard he was writing
he's
music.
done the score. Now, from what I understand, obviously right now it's just playing on. They have a trailer that came out. This is probably maybe a month ago. There's a trailer for it where they show a lot of kind of like drone footage of the actual construction site, and then also some computer generated renderings of what the finished product should look like, and all that's played with his score over the top of it, which sounds great. I mean, it's John Williams and it's Star Wars. It's like the perfect marriage. Sounds great. But what I also think they're probably going to do, if you're familiar with, obviously you guys have been to Disney, when you go into the different areas, they have music playing, and I have a feeling that when you go in to Galaxy's Edge, you're going to just hear that through basically
Yeah.
in the air
Mhm.
as you're walking around. You're going to hear
Mhm.
this John Williams score everywhere you go. I think that's going to make it really, really special. So, yeah,
Cool.
it's going to be
Oh,
amazing.
nice.
I think they're drawing some of the elements of the Harry Potter world type stuff where I think they're trying to make it very interactive and very much like you're in the movie and you're a cast member and you're part of the. So I do expect things like that. I expect
Yeah,
like in Harry Potter world, you go in one of the restrooms in there and you hear Moaning Myrtle in
yeah,
there.
Moaning Myrtles.
You know,
Yep.
it's only in the boys' bathroom because I think she was in the boys' bathroom in the
Yeah, yeah,
movies and
exactly.
books. So they have cool little Easter eggs like that,
Oh, absolutely.
and the kids use their wands to activate different parts of the park and stuff. And I think the sabers and different items will probably have elements like that. Not saying they're going to steal from that, but I think that's the wave of the future is interactivity and involving people. And the theme to me was reminiscent of Jurassic Park mixed with Star Wars a little bit, which is appropriate. It's a park, and but it kind of had a sweeping, but not just blatantly heroic like
Yeah,
Star Wars is. Not as bombastic as the Star Wars theme.
nice. I think that.
Much more of a sweeping, almost like a video game type soundtrack or something when you're looking at a world and being introduced to a world, or whatever.
Hmm.
But it was good.
I'm going to have to listen to it now. I had no idea. All I heard was a report that he was writing a theme,
Hmm.
and I had no idea it had already been released.
Yeah,
That's
it's already been
wonderful.
recorded and released. really, really good too. So that's your next homework.
Okay.
You got Clone Wars and John Williams for
I
Galaxy
think it's
Edge.
going to be tough between Celebration, that the Disney streaming service coming out right before that, probably, and then Episode 9. It's going to be like a big Star Wars year, and it's going to be hard to do everything because we're going to want to be there, like
Yeah.
opening week or whatever of that park, and
Not so much.
I will. I know it's going to be a nightmare, but I still want to be there. If
I don't think
anybody's
you
going to
really
get
do know
killed,
what kind of a nightmare that's going
if
to be.
anybody's going to get killed because the Millennium Falcon ride malfunctions, I want to be sitting right there. Either it's going to be me or someone next to me or behind me. It's gonna be the one I would be fine getting killed on it as it malfunctions. That would be cool.
Well,
So-
the joke I keep having with Brooke is that I said, Galaxy's Edge is opening next summer, so we should be able to be there by 2021.
Right.
I can actually see it.
You got to
After
know how much it's going to cost,
years.
man.
Because just Avatar, okay, Avatar, Star Wars. Avatar has like ridiculous lines. Like you have no idea how bad it is. Even to this day, it's been open over a year, and there's still 3.5-hour lines for one of those rides. Come on, Star Wars is ridiculous. You literally are not going to be able to get near the place for years
Okay, let me
unless
ask
you're
you,
right.
how will the
Greedo.
Millennium Falcon ride function? I mean, of course it's going to be the ride that everyone wants to go on. How is it even going to
Obviously, it's gonna be
function?
simulated, some sort of simulator.
Oh, did you guys
Um,
see the release where they said they can handle like so many at once? It's like a huge number at once.
Really?
Probably
Yeah,
be like
they have
the simulator.
tons of pods of it. It can handle tons of people at
Oh,
once.
okay. So it will be like multiple.
Every pod is a cockpit, and you get so many people in that cockpit,
Okay,
and
I
they got
see.
a crap load of them. They can get people in and out. Tons of people in and out. I mean, I know it still won't keep up with demand, but they're trying.
I see, because
So-
what I heard is said that you are going to be able to sit at the controls and manipulate the controls, and how you fly the ship will determine what the outcome of the adventure is. And I thought, how the heck are they going to get people through that if people have individual access to controls?
Probably the people in the front two seats. So it means
Yeah.
by the 6th time you ride it, you might get
Yeah.
access to the controls.
And so will the pods be in that building? That they did release a photograph that has the Millennium Falcon on the ground in front of this huge building. Will the actual ride be in that building behind the
I
Falcon?
would assume it's going to be in the building behind it. I don't think you'll actually get on although they may have it to where you walk into the
You
Falcon,
walk
and that's how
it,
you get
yeah.
into the building.
Yeah.
So you have that feeling, I'm walking onto the Falcon, and now I go and
Yeah.
I actually ride the ride. Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make the most sense, I think.
That doesn't seem like a big enough entrance, though. But maybe it is. Maybe the inside of the Falcon is just one big like turnaround for the people.
Yeah,
turn.
Well, they know
You
how
get-
to do the lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And whatever
what
it is,
else?
it's going to be awesome. Whatever it is, and if you have to go for an entire 2 weeks and just get a little piece of it each time and stand in line,
Yeah,
everybody has shown their willingness to do that. It's not we did that at Celebration, so
Try
it's not going to stop people, traitor.
you don't know the power
Yeah,
of the Disney side.
yeah.
You don't
know the
know
power
what this
of
is going to be
my
like. You think you do. It would be like going to Celebration 10 times worse.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to get in the park. I need to go 4 days before I actually have a ticket, so I can actually get in on the day that I bought a ticket for.
Okay.
And waited for 4 days.
Well, maybe we have to hang out at the bar most of the time when we're in there.
Well,
Now, I've heard
why
they're
don't they
gonna serve
why don't they put a
alcohol.
limit on the people in there to the ones that they can actually serve?
They actually do shut down the entrance on
Mhm.
certain days. When they do have a capacity, like every other business in the world does.
Right.
So yeah, and they're going to be exceeding that. So yeah, they're going to have to police it. So, but I mean, this is Disney; they know exactly what they're doing on that stuff.
Is there any chance of an Ebola outbreak or something in that part of Florida, so that everybody will be indoors and we can come during that?
I'll
We can
see what I can
We'll
do.
catch Ebola, but we'll see the Star Wars land. I'll bleed from the eyes
I am
and
also excited
to
about
see Millennium Falcon.
the resort, the hotel and resort they're building. That Star Wars team. Have you heard anything about that?
I heard it's expensive.
Oh, of course, everything about this is going to be expensive.
Oh, I
But
heard like over 1,000 a night.
whew, I haven't heard that. Okay, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's what I
But yeah,
like
the
that.
to me the interesting thing is that from the moment you walk into that, it's going to be a completely immersive environment. That you are in the Star Wars universe every minute, every second that you're inside the doors of the place. All the people who work there have to stay in character at all times, and obviously they're going to be decked out in various alien outfits and from various races. But yeah, it's supposed to be pretty incredible. So
Do
I'm
you have
glad
an
I'm excited to see
adventure?
that.
Do you have a tailored adventure for the guests,
I
or
don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if you have like a certain way that I don't know that I'm not sure about, but I'll have to do some research.
I think they're gonna do things like when you're waiting in line for something, or when you're at a certain part of the park, a creature that's walking around may come up to you and say, "Are you with the rebellion? Are you with the rebellion?" And if you play along and say yes, they're gonna take you aside and put you in a different part of the ride or something. I think there's because they did a stunt like that already, where
Mhm.
they pulled a bunch of people out of the audience and told them Kylo Ren's coming or something like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and they had them participate in that event. So I really think there's going to be a lot of weird Easter eggs and interactive things and stuff like that. But the hotel better be like that because, like I said, it's going to be ridiculously expensive. From what I understand, when you said completely immersed from the beginning, I just imagined like going into the back to tank and then going into carbonite. It's like now you get the full back to experience. Now the full carbonite immersion experience.
Hopefully not.
Totally immersive. But yeah, but it's safe to say we're all looking forward to it. Who knows who will get
Absolutely,
to
yeah.
experience it? Very few will get to be the first, and it probably won't be us. But
The
as
only
some
thing that I have
getter
potentially,
does.
I mean, this is probably an absolute long shot, but I at least do have an outside chance of getting to get into a cast member preview,
Okay,
which
cool.
they do for all their Gundark jokes on her
that's
coffee,
that's time to have a drink.
because they do
Can
have cast
you
member
get me
previews
in, Trader?
for every
I
every.
want to be a cast member. Do they need a Jabba or
They need a job.
I'll be Jabba or
Will
something
they do
like
a Princess Leia?
that.
I've got the hair. I don't need to wear a wig.
Exactly. I love it.
We're good.
So absolute long shot, but that would
Oh,
be great.
and from a I've always liked the toys and the collectibles and stuff, and from that perspective, the Disney parks do have some pretty cool items. Like they had a Jawa sandcrawler came out that was exclusive to them that a lot of the collectors wanted to get. They have the popcorn bucket that's a walker that a lot of people like.
Yeah.
They had the exclusive version of Ray's saber that you could take the blade out of the hilt and just wear the hilt if you want. Just different things like that. And so I expect some really cool new lightsabers and new merchandise. They're gonna one thing they're not gonna miss is a chance to sell people things. And I think there's probably gonna be a ton of cool items, pins, whatever you're into, they're gonna have. And with this redesign of lightsabers, I really expect there to be some cool ones there. That's what I'm kind of looking forward to.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm interested in that too. And obviously, we know they're going to have new product. What I'm interested
Obviously.
what I'm interested to see though, because what I've also heard is that they're not going to have a gift shop. And what I mean by that is this whole thing is going to be so immersive and so you're in the Star Wars. You don't see gift shops in the Star Wars universe. You're not just going to walk in and see
You
that.
barter and trade and stuff.
So obviously they'll have something maybe outside of where you actually go into Galaxy's Edge. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know the setup, but that is a one thing that I've heard about it. There's not going to be like the standard gift shop sort of setup within the land itself. So that should
It'll
be
be
interesting to
different.
see.
It'll be different spots where they're selling at trader posts and
Yeah, exactly.
scavenger
They'll have something
posts, and
somewhere.
They'll have Jawas selling you droids and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
they'll have a cantina, where you can go in and get the different drinks and everything.
I mean,
The
they even do
blue
that
milk.
right now in the landing bay,
Yeah,
where the or launch bay, where they like I think when you were there with me that one time, and the Jawa was just walking around randomly, and they barter with you and like take stuff from you and try and
yeah,
run off with it,
yeah, yeah.
just like real Jawas would.
Will launch bay and all that remain unaffected?
I don't
Still
know,
be
but
there?
I'm assuming it will, but who knows? You know,
Yeah.
I really like that setup, but it may just be kind of a stopgap until they get Galaxy's Edge
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
And when does Galaxy's Edge expected to open?
The only I know that in Disneyland and Anaheim it's going to open first. That's going to be summer, so I'm thinking June, July, and then Disney World in Orlando is going to be late fall. So I'm assuming probably November is the expected date, but they have not announced any hard dates that I've heard. So.
Okay, that sounds cool.
Be awesome.
Maybe not be too hot then.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
If it
wonder
opens
if
in November, it
I
won't be
wonder
bad.
if they'll let people use their cell phones to take video on the rides like you can now, because that'll get all that out there, for people to look at on YouTube and stuff. They may be more restrictive on that with the new park, new area of the park.
We'll see. All right. So what have we missed? Is there anything else coming up in 2019 that we haven't talked about?
The Star Wars
Episode 9.
9.
What is that? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, 9.
Let
German
me
for
just go on
no.
record as saying that of all the things we've talked about, that's the thing I'm least interested in, and
Me too.
that's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's actually sad that the end of the
Outrageous.
climax of the Skywalker story. I'm like, eh.
There's no Skywalkers left.
Yeah.
What do you mean? It already is
Hey,
done.
I'm just telling you what Disney said. This is or
Yeah.
what Lucasfilm said. This is the end of the Skywalker saga. So yeah, and that's literally like 4th on my list of things I'm looking forward to in Star Wars this year.
Yeah.
This is really, and I don't have that anticipation that I've had for all other Star Wars films.
Yeah.
I'm like, eh.
I'm not
So
looking for the trailer or anything like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. I'm looking forward to that. Don't care because now all I do is remember the disappointment from Last
Right.
Jedi. When I'm like, oh, that was such a great trailer, and then
Yeah.
wah.
Yeah.
So now I'm just kind of like, ugh, it's gonna be more of the same. It's just a
Well,
jaded way to look at it. But
I want to see it, but like you, I have severe reservations, and the disappointment of Last Jedi lingering and actually maybe becoming stronger over time with me. But I am wanting to see what they're going to do with Carrie Fisher ever since J.J. Abrams announced that they had some footage that they shot for Force Awakens that they were going to use to round out Princess Leia's storyline. So
yeah,
I
I'm looking forward to that.
I want to see more new footage with Carrie Fisher and see what they decide to do. And then I'm wondering how Luke will be brought back. Like what will happen because we know Mark Hamill is part of the cast. So I do want to see that, and I'm wondering where the heck they're going to go after the end of Last Jedi, because it just doesn't seem like.
I think that's the major problem why all of us are uninterested is that the second time I think I saw that and I had a chance to think about it, it felt like the end.
Yeah.
Not just because I'm a Luke fan. It just felt like the end. I felt like I was done with it. Like I don't care what happens next. We've gone far enough, and it's over. And if you stopped right there with Kylo Ren's story, that's very Dickensian or whatever you want to call it. Like he gets what he wants and he loses everything he wants.
Yeah.
And that is a fitting end for a villain. When they succeed, they often lose what they really value. It's Rosebud, from Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
It's you get everything and you've lost the only things that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it seemed like a fitting end to him. It seemed like Rey was going to carry on the Jedi tradition. It seemed like
even Rey's story arc seemed
why
like
would I want to come back? It just there's no relationships I want to explore there anymore. I'm just happy with it. Just imagine it. Whatever happens next is fine. They took some missteps there, and like I said, there's no Skywalker left, but Ben Solo, and I don't. Obviously they're going to redeem him, but
a lot of Last Jedi 2 was a rewrite of Return of the Jedi rather than Empire Strikes Back. It was reworking Return of the Jedi, all the throne room stuff with Snoke and all. And so once you kill off the main villain, the bad guy behind the bad guy, but I mean, where do you go from there? So I don't know. I don't know what to expect from it, but I'm going to see it. I'm
going to see it.
Regardless.
I'm sure I'll see it opening weekend. I just, my anticipation is just not there, and that's also making me not care about spoilers, which normally I try and stay away from it. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even care, I'll, not that I'm seeking them out, but if I see them, I'll be like, okay, whatever. It really is
Yeah.
I don't have that
Well,
filter on right now.
let
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
let me read you a tweet that I think I mentioned this to Greedo before. Kevin Smith, did I tell you about the tweet that
I don't think so.
Kevin Smith made this last week? He was on the set of Star Wars Episode 9 for 2 days, I think it was, and he said, JJ is doing the Lord's work. This movie looks fantastic. It's a year away, but man, it looks fantastic. I wept on set because I saw somebody give a career best performance, somebody I've seen in these movies before. I rolled a tear. It was so darn powerful. Biggest set I've ever seen in my life. The dude's not directing a movie. It's like he's directing a small country. But I wondered
He's
who
talking about Billy D. Williams, I
you
think.
think
I'm
so.
sure. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
sure he is. Yeah.
Someone
That would
who's
make
been in this
sense.
before, but and Mark Hamill's like a good friend of his,
Yeah.
so I don't think he would. I think he would drop a different hint there, but
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's probably Billy D. Williams he's talking about, unless it's just some one of the new characters or something. But
No,
it,
it
it
sounds like career best. Someone who's been in these movies before, multiple movies. So
yeah,
it has to
it's
be
Billy
an
D.
old
Williams.
I'm
trilogy,
sure
Yeah,
it's
an
Billy D.
original trilogy.
Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
which they may bring this whole thing of Billy D. Williams and Finn being related back, which could put an emotional punch into that whole thing that it desperately needs at this point.
Yeah.
They've severed so many connections to the OT that we need that. As cliched as it might seem, I mean, and this isn't the way the world's going anymore, where they want to connect people just because they look the same. You know
mhm.
what I mean? They want to believe in a world that somehow defies all reality. But
Mhm.
but to me, looking at it, they're the two black characters that are the most important from the movies. Doesn't mean they have to be related by any stretch, but they have the perfect setup with Finn for it, where he
Because we don't know
said, "I was
anything
taken
about his
from a family
background.
I'll never know." And
Yeah.
what would be more powerful to him than finding the family he never knew, that he never expected to know?
And he was
So
so shortchanged in The Last Jedi. He really needs a satisfying story.
yeah,
So,
we don't need to continue the Taser Finn story arc at all.
yeah.
Finn is
No.
knocked unconscious for the 200th time.
Yeah. Yeah.
He spends more time unconscious than any other character.
So
So we
maybe
don't need to
maybe
continue that.
I forgot about Billy D. Williams being in it. I would look forward to seeing him. I want to see what they do with some footage of Carrie Fisher that we haven't seen yet, and if there's something that's better for characters like Finn, who almost I wanted to find a way to work him into my top 10 characters of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Did that episode, but I couldn't quite get him in there. But I really want to see something with him. So it's got one more movie where they've got a chance to make up for the short shrift they gave him in the last movie.
Unfortunately, the reason to put so many of these new characters in a top 10 is for the wrong reasons. Like, I would put Rey in because she was the first female, Jedi lead. Well, that's not a really good enough reason.
No, you
Finn
want
because he's
his
the first
character.
real, black protagonist we've had. That's not a good enough reason. It's got to extend beyond that. We got to have some delivery on that. We've had
Yeah.
two movies. One movie being stellar isn't enough because
Yeah.
the second one is just sitting there. I mean, we got 2.5 hours of content that didn't advance anything.
Nope.
So it really hurts all those characters when you're trying
Yeah.
to find some reason to care about them, believe in them, and everything. So anyway,
So,
I always bring it
well,
back to bashing
we
on the Last Jedi, but
we will
it's
see.
true. This is just fact.
Yeah.
We will see.
Exactly.
I,
No
I
date,
don't.
no date listed yet on that. It's just going to
Yeah,
be that right now they're just saying December 2019.
Yeah.
I do hope that they pick up this storyline that Billy D. Williams would be a perfect way to do it. If he's Finn's whatever, if he's related to Finn at all, or another, if he thinks Finn might, and it ends up being disappointing that they're not related, but he thought, maybe Lando lost a son or grandson, and he thinks it could be Finn, and it ends up not being him. That would be awesome too. That way you wouldn't have to have them connected. But anyway, say Lando has been searching for his lost family member, and on the way, using his skills and connections and all the people that love Lando as a war hero and as a businessman and everything else, that he has found reconstructed the database the First Order uses to control and the background on all of their troops, or a significant portion, and he hands it over to Finn, and Finn uses that information to offer the stormtroopers a life, an identity beyond, just saluting and believing in the First Order or whatever. That's the one thing that could, because they've left this in a position where there's 12 people left in this resistance.
Yeah.
Nobody came rallying for Leia, who should be the biggest hero in the galaxy,
Right.
bar none. Nobody showed up for her. So why are they going to show up when things are even worse? Just because
Yeah.
Luke faced down Kylo Ren?
Yeah. No.
So much doesn't make sense. But if you give someone the ability to turn the first order on itself, and you got the perfect built-in way to do it, that's a way to bring in these characters and make them all more important, give them something to do, and get us to the end of this damn so-called story. So,
Agreed.
So that will be coming, what, a year from now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost
A year.
exactly a year. Probably a year this week, I would guess, if I had to guess.
Okay, so they'll have another Christmas release then.
Yeah.
That'll be.
And I want to say good luck to Billy D. Williams, and I love the guy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It'll be awesome seeing that. I hope they don't, totally wreck that character the way they seem to have been compelled to do to others. And
Yeah, I have more faith in JJ than you do, I think, but
I would if this was part one. This is part three.
yeah.
He's painted in a corner. He's not good at coming up with solutions. And
Yeah,
go
no,
watch
he's
Star
not. He's
Trek.
not a
Go
solution
watch Star
guy for
Trek Into
sure.
Darkness. Go watch Star Trek Into Darkness. He brought in Benedict Cumberbatch. He had a legacy character in he had a lot of the same ammo to draw on, and he wasn't painted in a corner, and it wasn't good. It was forgettable. I don't remember a thing about it. So that's the last thing this movie needs to be, is forgettable. It has got to be epic, but it's got to have everything. It's got to have personal moments. It's got to have limited comedy. It's got to have drama, real drama. It's got to have melodrama. It's got to have everything. And is he the writer to do that? I don't know. He's good at starting things. I don't know about finishing them.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have as much faith.
There's always hope.
Hey, have I been wrong? You guys just tell me right now. Just tell me right now. Have I been wrong?
Not
Anybody?
No. And I'm making the face right now because it's like all I can do to just bite my tongue for all the sarcastic comments I want to make about Last Jedi right now. I'm just like, nope.
I was the one. I was the one who warned you
is-
guys. I was the one who warned you guys and tried to put your feet on the ground. It was
This
me.
is Star Wars Holiday Special. This is
Yes.
Star Wars Holiday
This is
Special.
the Star Wars holiday. No, it's a
I don't
Cantina
know what
Club
that
holiday
means.
special.
God bless you, Mary Cantina Band. Your focus sets black eyes.
I'm hoping that the video editor who's in charge of this episode has put some sort of like holly around the border.
Right? We can only hope.
So we can keep reminding people this is our holiday.
It's just Wookiee fur balls. It's Wookiee fur balls. That's what people decorate with in Star Wars.
Yeah. Wookiee purple. All right. Well, is that everything we have for coming up in 2019?
I think. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a lot.
It absolutely is. Also, it should be a very
For
There's a chance.
Utopia.
There's a good chance there'll be more that we don't know
I
about
think
yet.
so too. Yeah, because even the Cassian Andor series was only recently announced. So
I think this will be the pivotal year for modern Star Wars.
Yeah.
2015 was, and 2019 is going to be again.
Yeah, I want to kind of get your take. I do want to talk about one other quick thing before we wrap. I think I've got a reason, and this may be like the most obvious thing in the world. I don't know, but I was thinking of this the other day, that obviously we've got the controversy of the Kathleen Kennedy coming out and saying, and Bob Iger saying, we're not going to do the other movies, like the side movies, after Solo, we're not going to do a Boba Fett, we're not going to do Obi-Wan, and so forth. I think it's because of the streaming service. I think it's less about, these aren't successful, we don't want to do them anymore. I think it's a whole lot more about, we can tell a better story and a more in-depth story on the streaming service.
Yeah.
Because
it's almost like they're saying, we need this streaming service to succeed. We think there might be Star Wars fatigue, so we want the content to be there and not everywhere else and there. Like we want to drive people to that streaming service.
Yeah.
Therefore, we only have one Star Wars thing in the theater, and all the rest of it's on the streaming service. You got to go there.
I think the streaming service is the wave of the future in terms of cinema too, because so many theatrical movies are releasing first on Netflix or Amazon, And so maybe they're keying into what's going to bring them the most benefit in the future.
And content works better on streaming than it does in the movies. Not everything that works in a theater is going to work on streaming and vice versa. So in other words, you can't make a Cassian Andor movie. That's not going to work. But you can make a series of it, and it'll be probably great.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian probably wouldn't work as a feature film, but as a as a streaming series, sure. There's no reason why it can't succeed.
The big enemy of Star Wars projects is expectations.
Yeah,
so if you put something on television, we all have a different level of expectation for a TV show than we do. We can take it or leave it. And if it hooks us, it becomes our favorite thing. If it doesn't, nobody loses, $1 trillion really.
Mm-hmm.
So, the stakes aren't the same, but our level of expectation is completely different. Going to see Rogue One, I enjoyed it immensely because I did not have any expectation other than the hope that I'd see a good Star Wars movie.
That's absolutely the same case with me. I went into it with going, I hope it's good, but
it was a bonus. It was like a big bonus.
Yeah, it was like a bonus. If it's good, that's great. If it's not, then I didn't expect anything to begin with.
Yeah, that's why the 9's going to be so pivotal because they've got to deliver something really good. It almost doesn't matter even what it does, what it says. It just make it good. Make it indisputably good, and you're probably going to be okay. But make it enjoyable.
Trilogies.
Yeah.
Well, a year from now, we'll have the answer to that question.
Yeah.
Right,
I'm happy.
Well,
I have better expectations than if RJ was in charge of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, that is the one thing that does give me hope because when I think about the upcoming episode 9, I do kind of my initial gut reaction is like, ugh, but then I'm like, wait, but it's not RJ.
Right.
It gives me a little bit of hope. It's like, okay, it could be worse. It could be worse.
Before the fact that it was him kind of gave us hope. We were like, what an interesting choice. It's gonna be great. And now we're like, oh my God, please no. No more.
And I'm still kind of bummed that it's not Colin Trevorrow because I don't know, I kind of like his stuff and I would like to have seen what he could have done with Star Wars, but anyway, that's a moot point now. So
yeah.
But all right. So I guess we're gonna wrap up our first ever holiday special from the Cantina Club. And this is kind of basically getting close to a wrap on our 40th anniversary. Any final words on our 40th anniversary? I'm looking forward to the 80th anniversary 40 years from now.
Well, I'm not. That's going to be ugly.
We'll be Force Ghosts then. What do you mean?
We'll be Force Ghosts.
That'd be awesome.
That would be awesome. That'd be amazing. No, but I've had a blast this year with our 40th anniversary stuff. I look forward to continuing the podcast on as long as we foresee doing it.
Yeah, I think 2019 is gonna get bigger and better for this podcast for sure. And we're gonna have lots of content to go over about the 40th anniversary. It's great that we started doing this kind of thing again, and I think Celebration had a lot to do with it when we all got together for Celebration in 2017.
Yeah.
And then we just occurred to us, hey, this is the 18 is the 40th anniversary. We've had fun things like the autographs with dedications, the Happy 40th Cantina Club and some different things like that. And I think that stuff there's different things that will continue to events and things like that. And we have potential to do a lot of stuff with this and have a lot of fun with it. And whatever you want to knock Disney for or whoever for, Lucasfilm for, they're going to give us some content to talk about, good or bad or whatever. And of course, we're going to be there. As burnout as I may be right at this moment, I still have a strong interest in it and love for it and everything. So yeah.
We can't quit talking about it.
And the good news is our core group is still alive. The 40th anniversary, so that it wouldn't be the same without without everyone. And so anyway, maybe we'll expand some in the next year, and hopefully we won't. Hopefully this core dynamic will still be there and everything.
Don't lose the core, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, without further ado, we're going to sign off for 2018.
Happy
And we'll
Life
see
Day.
you again next year. Thanks for joining us. Please like us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, friend us on there, leave us comments, interact with us. We'd love to hear what, maybe you have questions or things you'd like us to address. We'd love to talk about it. Just shoot us a message and we'll get to it. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
It's Life Day. We'll find a way. Take a holiday.
I should have said, I just want to say, I'm not in it for the revolution. I'm not in it for you. I'm in it for the money.
Take a holiday. Special